Please raise together. What if I told you I sang in the choir? Wow. I like it. So perhaps we need to break the bias in your church. We need to break the bias. And guys, seriously, whether it's at the mosque or whether it's in church, we need to break the bias, because a lot of the things that we practice in our churches, in our mosques, come from a place of not having knowledge. Now, we know that take for instance, in church, they tell you the men don't cover their heads, right? But you know that the Jews have that covering at the back of their head in their Jewish synagogues. Who says, hey, Jesus, who told you? But the religion came from them. Came from the Israelites, who are Jews. We are not, what's the name of that? If you're not a Jew, you're a Gentile. We are Gentiles. Are you a Christian? Absolutely. But Christianity came for the Jews first, before the Gentiles. They didn't read from a place of knowledge. A lot of us don't read our Bibles. Okay, we don't go deep into the exegesis of. That's another conversation. But I am saying that we need to educate ourselves. We need to get knowledge. There is actually absolutely nothing wrong with a guy not covering his head in church. We will have that conversation if you want to have it. You understand? But I'm saying that it needs to be from a place of knowledge. Okay? Sexuality. How many of us have ever investigated our homophobia? A guy walks in here and he's effeminate. I had to look at my homophobia. Have you guys looked at your homophobia? Why are you homophobic? You need to investigate it. Why are you homophobic? Okay? It's a big deal. All right? What are the advantages and disadvantages of stereotypes? What are the things that can happen? You know, a negative stereotype can create an us against them. How many of us are heads of department or heads of unit here? Team leads. Okay? How many of us have men in our teams? You have men in your team. Okay. So if there's an issue with she's trying to make things happen, she's trying to make it work, she's termed as bossy. A man takes charge, he's termed as being a leader because she's a woman. You know, and then the thing also about stereotypes, because we know we have those stereotypes, who knows what imposter syndrome is? Imposter syndrome, do you want to give me a definition?
Basically, it's when you feel like you are not the one with the capabilities of what you can do.
Any other person? Imposter syndrome.
Best for explaining is that you think you're fake, so you're achieving things but you don't know you're the one doing it.
Imposter syndrome.
Feel like a fraud, like you're not good enough. Whatever achievement you have achieved is definitely not you. Somebody somewhere is.
Absolutely. We understand it, but one of the root causes of imposter syndrome is stereotypes. You feel like you're not enough. You feel like they are waiting for you to fail. And it's one of the reasons why we don't step forward to take opportunities. Be afraid to look bad. It's an imposter syndrome. And part of it stems from having stereotypes. So what are the benefits of, I'm going to jump right in because of time, jump right into what are the benefits that a workforce can have from stepping away from the stereotypes. I'm still going to go into how we step away from it, but let me talk about the benefits real quick. You know, obviously being diverse, not, you know, clearing away our stereotypes and getting people from different age ranges allows us to be diverse as a company. It allows us to serve, and because our customer base is increasing. Now, with where I work at Leadway, right? Our business is mainly broker based, so we have third parties that get people to take up insurance policies. Another thing that helps us is the fact that we are a lot of policies that people take are mandated by law. So we have a lot of corporates that are taking motor policies, employers liability policies, workmen compensation policies, like that are mandated by law. Now, what we've found is that those corporates and older companies, they are phasing out. My company is 50 years old, okay, but they are growing old. And if we do not start talking to the younger ones coming up, very soon the company will die. Okay, and it's the same thing with our workforce. People that are older are phasing out. If you do not begin to have an inclusive, diverse workforce, what is going to happen? That the company dies off. You also need new ideas. The same way you used to get new customers and get new people and all of that back in the day, it's not the same way you want to do it now. Because people that are coming up, people that are owning businesses, people that are going to be doing business with you, have different needs, different wants. The way you engage them are different. And if you're not thinking along those lines about being different and being diverse and breaking down your stereotypes about the younger ones that are coming up, younger companies that you're relating with, you're not going to get them. You're not going to get very far. And even in your relationships with people, you're also not going to get very far. I've talked about recruitment and the reputation of the company. I've talked about how it is a better reflection on customers. I've talked about the makeup of the organization. Let me go to the generational workforce. What are the barriers that face generational workforce? Question. Who's in HR here? HR? People management? She's not here. Can anybody give me like the average age range of people that work at Pedabo? Age range? Yes, men and women. 20 to 55. No, age range. I want the age range, not the average. 20 to 40. We don't have any 50-year-olds. 20 to 55. So, okay, even within that age range, there are at least, you can break that down into at least 3 different age categories. Okay? Do we agree that the 20-year-olds do not think the same way as the 30-year-olds do? The 30-year-olds don't think the same way as the 40, 50-year-olds do. We agree. Okay? Now, the only way that we can make those relations work is if we are able to break down our biases. What are common stereotypes for 20-something-year-olds? 20-something, 30-year-olds, I want to hear you. What?
You know, common stereotype that we're rude, like we don't have respect for our elders, you know, we're lazy and all that.
Don't you like to party? Not really. So common stereotypes is they're lazy. They don't listen. One, no respect. No respect. They have a sense of entitlement. Okay? Those are common stereotypes. But are all those stereotypes necessarily true? They're not. They're not. I've had 20-something-year-old. I had some mad people too. Let's not lie. I've had some mad people. I had a young lady once who came to work on a Friday in bomb shorts. Yes. She came. There's no lie. What's this one? She came to work. They said it was dressed down Friday. Yeah, in my office. Sure. She came to the office in bomb shorts. Of course, she was sent home. She was sent home to go and change. She did. When she's not high on cheap drugs, she will come back. Her network, it was, well, to be fair, it was her first working experience. Yeah, but how is that an excuse? How is that an excuse? No, so guys, see, let's be clear about something. Let's be clear about something. Guys, can I have your attention? Let's be clear about something. We have biases, yes. There are stereotypes, yes. But there's also the place for proper behavior and common sense. Individuals, see, there is the reason why I won't say because somebody is Igbo or somebody is Yoruba or somebody is whatever. It means they can take care of women or they like money or whatever. The beautiful thing about stereotypes or about how you treat each person on their individual basis. You treat each person as they come to you, not on the basis of how they look, how they dress, or where they're from, or whatever biases you already have about the person. You treat them on their individual basis. You understand what I'm saying? Not because they wear an hijab or because they tie their hair, they don't wear earrings or whatever. You think, okay, Omo Jesu is a Jesus person. This one will not. It's a lie. Okay? That is not how it works. Is Jesus the Lord of their lives? And it's not by what they say. Somebody, I was at an event, somebody was very rude to me on top of food. On top of food. Seriously. Lori Oje, food. So they're going to tell her, do you know who you spoke to? Do you know whatever? I think they're going to scare her that they will never call you again. You better call her and apologize. She's been using phone to chase me up and down. So yesterday I saw a missed call on my phone. I called the person back. Madam, I'm very sorry. It was not like that. I'm not like. In fact, I'm a born again Christian. I said, Madam, hold it. I told her, Madam, I didn't get that sense when you spoke to me. You know. And then what was it? What was the reason? Today, your hair was dreaded. My hair is dreaded. Your hair is dreaded. You didn't wear makeup. You wore Ankara. I said, because I wore Ankara, I didn't wear makeup. Suddenly you assumed I wasn't somebody you could respect. You treat them properly regardless of how old they are, regardless of what they look like, regardless of what stereotypes you have. You treat them with respect. You speak to them properly. You treat them nicely. You treat them the way you want to be treated. It creates room for diverse opinions. The 20-something-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, the 40-year-olds, everybody has different opinions. When you are able to accommodate everyone and treat them properly with respect, it gives you the benefit of the ideas and opinions that they have. It helps you to make better decisions that include all the age ranges. It helps you to create a learning culture within the organization. It gives you everyone has equal access to equal and fair treatment. Okay, nobody feels like they're being sidelined. Nobody feels like they are being insulted or demeaned because of their age. That is very, very important. There's somewhere in Timothy where I think Paul was telling Timothy that he shouldn't allow himself to be talked down to because of his age. Timothy had been made an evangelist at that time, and he was trying to encourage him and say, preach the word in season and out of season, and do not allow anybody to look down on you because of your age. I think he was one of the youngest evangelists at that time. But without and can you imagine, even in the Bible there were stereotypes. There were people that felt Timothy had no business being an evangelist because he was so young. But it has nothing to do with age. It has everything to do with how he presents himself and how he talks to the people that he needs to talk to, how he takes care of his church. And that was why Paul was saying, look, do not allow yourself to be looked down upon because of your age. And we need to remember that as well. It helps us to resolve conflict, and it gives the firm an overall problem-solving ability. I'm going to share something with you. It's called Brace, and it just gives us different ways that we can bridge the stereotype gap. Okay? B is for be flexible and open-minded in your style and your approach. Respect individual strengths and differences. Do not allow your biases to cloud your judgment. Okay? Accept the reality of the generational difference. Guys, it's here to stay, like it or not. There was somebody I used to teach in the teens ministry, and she just started working with us. She's a business development manager. I remember when she walked in, she went, Auntie. Then she paused, we're in the office. And then I've become Miss Bumi. But I was Auntie Bumi back in the day, but it's fine. So it will happen. You're going to be in the workforce and people that you have brought up are going to come and meet you. There's nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine and totally expect it. Prepare for it. Be ready for it. And ensure that you're open-minded and flexible when you relate with them. Integrate the differences to drive organizational goals, project and teamwork, and mentoring. There are different things you can use the generational gap to do. There are people who are better suited for a thing because of their age. Use it. Play up the strengths. Play down the differences. Use it, rather, find a way to use it to accelerate the growth, either your growth personally or the growth of the organization. Create an expression, an environment free of expression of these differences and including reward practices. Explore communication style and channels. Open your mind and make sure that you do that. And I'm sure that by the time we begin to put Brace into action, we should be able to break down the bias. Thank you very much, ladies, for listening. I'm open to questions if there are any. If there are any.
Thank you so much, Ma. Let's just take a minute for people to write down their questions. I'm sure we had a great time. Yes. Please let's appreciate Ms. Adewale.
Thank you.
Okay, so questions. Some people were right.
I want to clarify. Generally, organizations tend to have, I don't want to call it a vision, but an expectation of what the average employee. So if you have me now that like the expectation of whoever there's something like that. How do you carry out the work? How do you relate? How do you manage that?
So there was a time when at Leadway, and I'll use Leadway the perfect example because like I said, we are 50 plus years old. There was a time in Leadway where you couldn't address somebody, an older person, by name. It would be looked upon, it would be looked upon as if you're rude. I remember a time when what had happened. I think I was an intern, and then I spoken to an older manager, and I said, because they were in HR and they're supposed to handle tea thing. There was a meeting, so the person I was reporting to said, make sure that their tea things available. So I sent an email to HR and I said, kindly listen to my words. I said to the person, Mr. So and so, good morning, blah blah blah. There's a meeting on here. I said, kindly direct. He asked me to do it though. I chose my words very carefully. I said, kindly direct that tea thing be made available for this meeting. The guy responds to me and says something along the lines of, I shouldn't be the one asking him to do stuff. He had copied some other of his colleagues and copied my boss's stuff. And then another boss even said, in fact, while we are in on the matter, what makes her think she has the right to yada 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 over email? My boss then says, what? So I responded to the guy and said, oh, apologies. It's the reason why I said kindly. I'm not asking you. The guy said, are you asking me to go and carry cups and whatever for the tea? I said, apologies if my mail sounded like that. That was why I chose my words and I said, kindly direct. I didn't say you should do it. Kindly direct or tell me whom to go and meet to get the things done. And then his colleague who was doing Pepper Body said, oh, it's true, Seth. It's not your place to be the one to be asking for such thing to be done, yada yada. My boss now says, Ewano, she has apologized. I don't know what else you guys want, and that's how that matter shut down. To respond to you, the Nigerian workplace is growing. It's evolving, okay, and it's not something that's going to change overnight, where companies have a certain expectation of the kind of employees that they want, okay, but it's evolving. There was a time you couldn't take dreads into midway. Men wear dreads now where I work. There was a time if you colored your hair red or any quote unquote weird color, you'll be sent home and asked to go and change it. Your hair, they won't allow you enter the office back in the day. But now people come to the office with her hair. People had dreads. I had dreads. My hair is 2-strand twist now. I had dreads back in the day. I was asked to go and I wasn't asked to unlock it. I was asked to, you know how your life, they just make your life difficult until you take it off. Nobody told me directly take it off because it's not in the handbook. But my life was made difficult until I reverted to status quo. But now people have dreads in different colors, nonsense. You understand? Men have dreads at Midway. Men have it. There's a guy that comes to the office in cornrows. Of course, those guys in IT, those ones are in a different world. All by themselves. Anything they want is fine. You know? But like I said, the workplace is evolving. Whoever knew we could work from home if not for COVID? Before, they will say they want to see you. If you're not at your desk, even though you can be at your desk and playing game. You be at your desk and watching TV, watching film. As long as they are seeing you, you are there, you are working. But now, because of COVID, people can work from home. It's the deliverables now that is more focused on. So I can't tell you that there is a one bullet that will change the stereotype, but it's become an employee's market today. Moving up and down to different countries is more fluid than it has ever been. The smart employer is the one that will create an environment that allows his people to express themselves. Maybe the cocoa is for the job to be done. Exactly. Once the job is done and they are delivering on their KPIs, everything can go. But how they dress, how they express themselves, what they do while they're working, companies are learning to be a bit more flexible. So give it time. It will evolve by itself. You either evolve or you die. You understand? So the smart companies are the ones that will evolve. You get what I'm saying? How do you define the thin line between bossy and being a leader as a woman? That's a fantastic question. How would you advise women trying to break the bias to clearly articulate their goals without being seen or deemed to be overbearing or a feminist? I think the two questions are related. Okay. So you need to be aware. So a lot of it starts from being aware, being self-aware. Be aware when you're trying too hard. Now the truth of it is there's unfortunately there is a requirement. There almost seems to be an expectation that you have to do twice the work to get half of the recognition. You have to prove yourself. It's part of the being a fraud thing. You understand? So, like I said, a lot of these things are changing. How do you permit me to use the word, please? You know when you're being a bitch. You know it. You know when you're being a bitch. You understand? And unfortunately, that isn't, when you're doing that, that isn't what stamps yourself as a leader. That isn't what makes you a leader. Okay? As a leader, ask yourself, are you inspiring the people that you work with? When they look at you and look at your work ethics, do they want to be like you? Are you a mentor? Are you approachable? And there's a difference between being approachable and being nice. No one is asking you to be nice. Be approachable. Be the person that they can come to with their issues. Because respect is something that is earned. It's not something that is demanded. You cannot demand respect. You also cannot get it by trying to instill fear in the people that work with you. Yes, there is a line that they cannot cross. You understand? Like, you have your boundaries. So ask yourself, are there boundaries, or are you just being evil? Are there boundaries, or are you just being evil? Are you just being unnecessarily mean? You want to stamp your authority. What are you stamping? People will respect. It's the truth. What are you stamping? Are you get? So will they come to you with their issues? Are you a mentor? Are you someone that they can look up to? Are you someone that they can be like? How many of you have put yourself, like, sat down and said, okay, give me during review, during the your yearly annual review, have you ever sat down to say, okay, team, I'm the leader? I'm the leader, give me feedback? Can you do that as a leader? Where you get to the point where you can sit down and say, this is a safe zone, give me feedback, I want to hear feedback, how I am doing as a leader. Maybe you're getting something. Have I answered your question? I don't know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma. Still based on the comment you made, self-awareness. So I don't think everybody has gotten to that point in their lives where they are self-aware, because dealing with whether you have to deal with a bossy person or whatever, it's about even if the person is really aware. So how does the person get aware of that nature? You know, some people don't know that that's the way they are, you know. So how do you then deal with that?
It starts with conversations like this. Really, it starts with being aware that you need to be aware. Okay, it starts with reading about these things, reading about bias, checking out people's stories. Something must turn the light in your head. It's not something that someone can make you do. You get what I mean? There's some people that are going to hopefully walk away from this room and think and ask themselves, what are my stereotypes? That's my hope. Ask yourself, what are my biases? What are the things that I am projecting? Because remember something, a lot of people that have stereotypes or biases about other people is self-projection. They are projecting what is in them and projecting it on somebody else. You know, there are some people that do not believe that there is good in this world. You know, people like that. You can't be good if you're nice. I gave you something. What do you? She must want something. The fact that she gave me 10 naira, she's going to use it to collect 100 naira from me. What do you really want? Now, it does not mean that. It doesn't mean that they are not evil people, though. There's evil in this world, but they are evil people. But they're actually also nice people. Okay, now it doesn't also mean that you should be naive. You understand? Don't be stupid. Because there are evil people in this world. There are people that are actually out to get you. That's the truth. Okay? But the thing that you can do is come to equity with clean hands. You be good. You treat people with respect. You want to do good. You look for the percentage of good, because I believe there's goodness in everybody. That's what I choose to believe. I believe that no matter how evil a person is, quote unquote, there is good in them. And my purpose is to find that good and hopefully grow and encourage that good and make it more than the bad. And if the person now decides they don't want to be good, and I stay behind my boundaries. I allow myself to do the things that I need to do so that that person doesn't have the capacity to hurt me. You get what I mean? But it starts with you. You do you. And then hopefully the world evolves and changes for the better. I can't give you any magic pill. It's just the person needs to come to a place of self-awareness. You can't help that person if the person doesn't choose to help themselves. You get what I mean? So I'm hopeful that with talks, with books read, with events or webinars, or even one-on-one mentoring, the person can go away start having those personal talks with themselves, because that's where it starts from, and nobody can help. There's some things that no one can help you do until you start to do it yourself. You get?
All right, good morning, everyone. Just to portray what she's been talking about since, we're a lot of women in this office. There was once a time that there is no female in Pedabo, and it's at that point that I joined. And I joined Pedabo as a copper then, and I was the only female. To even get in was a problem because they felt with the kind of job we do, not to care, So most times for you to change the stereotype, it takes a lot of hard work. In that my year, I really worked hard. I traveled to a lot of, some of all those things that they felt that women cannot do. I traveled to a lot of states. I did that. Sometimes I can travel for 2 weeks. I'm out of Lagos, But eventually, before I finished, they were the ones asking me, this your NYS, this your copper. When are you finishing it? Not want to become a full staff. And now see all of us, we have multiples of women, so the narrative can actually be changed. It takes a lot of effort initially. At least the first time it took a lot of effort. Sometimes when I was 9 months pregnant, sometimes we didn't even allow that. Even the allow some people would be talking, madam, we should go home, we shouldn't be here. But you have to establish the fact that you can do this thing. Although you're a woman, although you are pregnant, but that does not mean that you are performing less than a man. But the truth is that the narrative has been changed and nobody can even remember it, and it becomes the way we work. So we are inclusive now. We have both male and women taking responsibility as long as you can do the work. Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Any other questions? Ask.
Okay, so thank you very much, Ms. Bumi, for the session. It was very insightful and I'm sure everybody enjoyed it. So in the course of the discussion, you mentioned, you made reference to churches, for instance, where there are certain biases. You see the way a person dresses, just assume it's deeper life. But there are some biases that cannot be broken in the immediate or even short term, maybe long term. So for instance, you attend CAC. I grew up in CAC, for instance. And there's a certain way a CAC woman appears. So even growing up trying to, you wear earrings. CAC women don't wear jewelries for some reason. So you wear studs and then everybody's looking at you like, now wow, and her mom is a dickness. That kind of thing. And it's still like that till tomorrow. Even not just today, till next week. It's still like that. And then there are Gen Zs, so to speak, that their parents attend these churches, and because of that they start attending COSA and the likes. So in that, and then the church now is it's an old person church. So if you as a young person say you attend CAC, people look at you like, why would you still be attending that kind of church? So in that kind of situation, so let's assume that for some reason you cannot find yourself out of that organization and the biases are really very stiff. What do you do? I just use that as an example because it's in a workplace, for example. It could happen anywhere. So I just use that because that was a bit practical. Thank you.
I have one response to that. You're not a tree. Move. You're not a tree. You are not planted there. You're not a tree. Move. Well, you're not a tree now. Yes, I mean, and even if we're going to use your example, then I'm going to go a bit into scripture now. Okay, what is the reason why a lot of these churches don't wear jewelry? There's a particular scripture that is referenced, and there's Old Testament where they say they don't wear jewelry, they don't wear trousers. Yes, the same place. It's in Deuteronomy. Okay. And that place in Deuteronomy was talking about certain bylaws. Guys, please listen. That place in Deuteronomy was talking about certain bylaws that were given to the Israelites as they were traveling through the wilderness at that time. And even if it was that time, I have a question. Why is it that only certain laws were picked? Only certain laws were picked out of that chapter, and that chapter has several other laws. Why are we cherry picking? Because in that same chapter, there's a place where it says you cannot plant two different types of crops together. Do we not do cross pollination, cross whatever, where you plant corn and watermelon together? If in fact you can actually do a call out, because the clothes that are worn by the CAC people, there's a place in the scripture in that same chapter that says you cannot, don't mix two materials together. We're not wearing wool and rayon together. Why are you cherry picking? Why are you cherry picking? There was a specific whatever. You can't wear clothes that have tassels. We wear a lot of that today, don't we? Even the clothes that the CAC people wear. There's a place that says you cannot build a house without a parapet. That's so, i.e. the idea is to prevent people from falling off. People are falling off buildings every day, man. Even the way the church building itself is built, does it have a parapet? So I'm saying all of that, and I mean no disrespect. I mean no disrespect at all. But what I'm basically trying to say is it starts with the individual. I agree. Some biases are not going to change anytime soon. But the thing about biases generally is that they evolve. When were you an intern? What year is it? You see how long it has taken for us to have the crop of excellent women that we have at Pedabo today. It took that long. Biases do not change overnight. A bias is a mindset. It's not going to take a conversation for a bias to change. It's something that happens. It has to be. So it took a while for that bias to be enforced. It will take a while for a new thinking to wash it away and change it. And it starts with the individual. You have to do your own learning. When Paul was talking to the Bereans, I think it's somewhere in Acts, it says, I can't remember the scripture, but it says the Bereans were of more noble character than the Thessalonians, because they went back and looked into the Bible to see if what Paul told them was true. Let's read our Bible, women. Go back and read it. Let no one, when we take what the preacher says or what comes from the pulpit, it's like, sorry, I'm going to be a bit gross. I warned you. It's like taking what someone has taken and chewed. The person now spits it into your mouth and you take and you swallow. It's gross, but we do it for children. When you're trying to break the food down to make it soft, our mother would do it in those days. You'll chew it, and then you now take it because it's now soft enough. You now put it in. That's what we're doing. You know, we can't be feeding on milk. We need to get into eating solid food. So let's go back and read and check if what they are saying is true. Can I get an amen? You have a question?
So, good afternoon, everyone. So, once again, as much as we are all living here, it would be nice to actually know how a couple of people have been able to manage corporate world and their home, because we hear a lot of stories these days about how it's difficult juggling corporate life and marriage and family and everything. To be honest, a lot of us are afraid. I am afraid. Whenever the whole issue of marriage comes up, my mind skips. You know, I'm honestly, I've even turned down 2 people because they're like, I want to marry tomorrow. I'm like, it's not that deep. Please be going your own. I'm not yet ready. So the fear is there. It would be nice if we can hear like positive stories about how people are able to navigate, so that we that are coming, we can even know that it's not that bad. It's not as bad, because we hear all the negative stories, and most times it's targeted at women.
Thank you. Please, a round of applause for this woman. She's amazing. She's amazing. Thank you. Okay, I was hoping I was going to have my vote of thanks around this that you brought up, because I've observed that a lot of ladies are actually scared about, marrying, work, and the requirement of work with marriage, raising children. One thing is that you need to be sure of what is acceptable in the environment you found yourself, right? Chichi talked about was an intern. I met Chichi in Pedabo. Okay. Post that internship here, she's married, she has 3 kids. I think there was a time we were even rocking pregnancy together. Yeah. For the time, I think our first children, there was a time we were rocking pregnancy together, but then we're